Hey there, you're at the Polkadot Wyckoff analysis session. So, Polkadot, after last week's big drop, this week it seems to like taking a breath, and we see a little bit of green. So let's quickly take a look at both weekly and daily time frame and see what the price actions are telling us. Here in the weekly chart, previously we said okay, it's normal to see like after sign of strength we have more tests, and a good sign happened over the past 3 weeks that it went above the red key level. That's around $4.30, but then immediately after there was quite a bit of selling pressure, and last week I said as long as this upward channel or this upward support line hasn't been broken, then it should still be fine. But obviously when we started this week, we see this candlestick started below the this support level. If I change it to a line chart, you see last week it closed somewhere around that level. Let me adjust it. So as of this moment, it seems the price is still trying to stay along the line at least. So when we do this, you see it's just a notch a bit like below it. So the thing is, it's like it's now the line has turned to become a resistance line for what we're seeing at this moment, and this is what or why I said maybe the accumulation may take a bit longer for Polkadot, and the volume isn't doing like very great as well. It's only 50% of what we had over the past 4 weeks, but having said that, it may be a good sign that it's getting some consensus. At least people are not crazily selling like back in mid-June. So if that's the case, we'll keep this resistance line and see for how long it will stay below it. Hopefully, well, even if it stays below it, if it stays below it, it can still go up, just at a different pace. If it goes above, then obviously the price can surge quicker. And looking at what happened here, remember what I said, like it's common for prices to come down after a sign of strength. And last time when it happened back in September last year, it retreated to a level that was lower than the selling climax. And but this has happened back in late June. The difference now is this time we've got this little bumpy rides compared to last time. The price shot up immediately because obviously the environment was way different. A lot of good news has already been digested, so this time we need to see more coming out before we see that kind of drastic move. So one thing we hope to see is the price to continue to go up even if it's under that particular yellow slope to where the orange key level is. When that happens, that's potentially getting near to the end of the accumulation, and the new distribution cycle would start. So that's what happened if we look at here. So the test and then comes up a little and a spring. So come down for a test, comes up a little, and maybe heading for a test before it goes up. So that's what happened back in 2023. So this time may be closer to the pattern may be closer to what happened 2 years ago rather than the one we had last year. And if we go to daily, here, let me enlarge it so it's easier to see because the daily chart is very busy. So we put a couple of question marks over there. Is the price heading towards a sign of weakness, or even a new accumulation cycle? Like, was that period when we conducted the session last week actually preliminary support and looks like it was actually a preliminary support level or a stage, and it actually went to a selling climax as well just the past Saturday on the 2nd, and now it returned. This point was actually the automatic rally, so I'm borrowing what happened back in late June. So this time we have a less steep selling climax, but if we look at what happened yesterday, it seems to be a positive sign because we've got a longer tail while we have a very high volume compared to the entire July basically, and even back to, well, we can only find such a high volume back in late May, and that was a selling period. After that there weren't any volume as high as yesterday, so that's a positive sign for the bulls, especially this is a long green bar with a candlestick with a like a long tail. That means a lot of support from that bottom. So if that's the case, I'll move this. If that's already into the accumulation, this upthrust obviously hasn't happened, and what comes next would potentially or likely be a sign of strength again in the daily chart. When that happens, what happened last time, within a couple of days, less than a week, the climb already started. So in a matter of just 5 days, it started climbing already. So that was early July that I was talking about. It's July the 8th. We're getting to the 8th of August. Would it happen the same way? Maybe. So when it happens, that's when we have another new buying climax. So when I look at this, it's time to update that as well. That was actually the buying climax over there. So I can borrow it, and this time put it here. That's what potentially going to happen between now and the next session. So both the PSY and the buying climax, I'm putting it here. So by the next session, maybe we'll see the price is already at the PSY period. Buying climax can probably be another week, like the session after. So I'll keep all these tags over here. It seems like this is building up, so if this is a quick accumulation, the PSY can appear as soon as the coming week. Just quickly take a quick look at what other information we can draw from the chart. Let's check the curve squeeze as well. So there's no squeeze at the moment, but in the daily chart a squeeze can develop very quickly. So a squeeze means the purple gets into the orange or very close to the orange. That's what happened during like July 8th, what I mentioned, when we had this massive surge over the next like 14 days. Now what we need to see is for this to come down, this to come up, and then that we'll see a squeeze again. So last time when we look at the chart on the let's say this point, June 29th was very close to what we are having right now. The purple were a bit, let's say June 28th, the purple were a bit outside of the orange, still heading like horizontal a little, and then very quickly over the course of the next 6 or 7 days, the price consolidated. It traded very narrow range, and the squeeze happened, and that's what built up the upthrusts over, not upthrust like the surge over there. I tend not to use a confusing term. It's a thrust over there basically. So this time, if the price continue to trade in a narrow range, that's going to continue and will give us another squeeze. So that's why it's probably going to happen pretty quickly in the next few days, because here we see this line, let me change to a yellow dashed line. so it's consistent across all the sessions. So this is a like an intermediate level between the key levels. That's why we see the price has been staying below this for a while, and that's totally fine. That's where the consolidation is happening and building up for the squeeze to potentially boost the price to a new distribution cycle, at least on the daily time frame. And in the weekly, like I said, it can still go up along or below this yellow line. So it's still within the accumulation, but is at a later stage accumulation, because we have been into this for 3 months, 91 days over here after the sign of strength. So the momentum is continuing to build up in my view. If the project stays healthy, we'll potentially see the new distribution cycle maybe late from somewhere from late September to maybe November time. So let's see when that would happen.